Good evening, I'm Annabelle Tiffin. Welcome to Friday's North West Tonight. Our top story. Despite opposition, Children's Emergency Services at Ormskirk Hospital move to Southport.
They knew what they wanted, they went for it, and it's our kids that suffer because of it.
The MP for West Lancashire, Ashley Dalton, says she'll ask the Health Secretary to review the decision. Also tonight, Stacy Sharples falsely accused 10 men of raping her. One of her victims says the upset and hurt she's caused is incomprehensible. Finding Their Voice, a classic opera reimagined at the Lowry by people who've experienced homelessness.
In sport, we'll look at the Premier League title race and we'll hear from Barrow's latest head coach, who astonishingly is the 5th person in the job this season.
A controversial plan to move children's A&E services from Ormskirk to Southport have been approved. The MP for West Lancashire says people there feel left behind and she wants the government to review the decision. But supporters say it is the safest and most sensible decision. Well, our health correspondent Jill Dummigan joins us from there now. And Jill, these A&Es currently are split between the two sites, aren't they?
That's right, yes, Annabelle. Since 2003, the children's A&E has been at Ormskirk Hospital, 10 miles down the road from here, while adults are looked after here at Southport. But the people in charge of health services here want them both on the same site. They say this would be much safer, that it would be much better for staffing. They've also always said that they'd favoured Southport, but that has been bitterly opposed by many, particularly in West Lancashire. Even before the announcement was made, the mood at Ormskirk Civic Hall was pessimistic.
I think it's a foregone conclusion that it's going to go to Southport.
Well, they haven't announced it yet. I mean, that's coming up.
Yeah,
Do you think it's a foregone conclusion?
I think it's been delivered like that, to be quite honest.
The meeting was interrupted by protesters.
So endoscopy is currently located.
But ultimately, nothing was going to change the outcome.
Can the committee approve that?
They knew what they wanted, they went for it, and it's our kids that suffer because of it.
My granddaughter's diabetic and twice has fell into a coma. Time critical to get her to Ormskirk to give her the drugs and whatever else she needed.
I will be immediately writing to the Secretary of State for Health and Social Care and asking for the decision to be what we call called in. So I'll be asking for him to reconsider and look at this decision.
Two of the major factors influencing this decision were about how much each move would cost and how quickly they could be achieved. The people behind it said that moving adult A&E here to Ormskirk would mean moving 7 other supporting services costing £91 million. By contrast, they said, moving children's A&E over to Southport would involve moving just one service costing £33 million, and it would be achievable 2 years faster. A telephone poll of just over 500 people backed the Southport plan, but a consultation getting more than 5,000 replies clearly favoured Ormskirk. Your own staff said that they would rather it all move to Ormskirk.
Yeah, the staff will have a view, and in any situation like this, there's often lots of strong feeling, but we need to step back and look at things objectively, and it's about 24-hour care for all ages in the most appropriate place.
But many back the decision. Former Southport MP John Hughes campaigned on this for more than 20 years.
It's what we always hoped for. We knew it was a mistake at the time. I think the hospital authorities now admit that it's a mistake. But I do think that the evidence, clinical evidence, the evidence of patient journeys and all the economic evidence tended to show that Southport was the better option for the Trust.
Those in charge of this move say it could be done in 3 years. The decision is now made. The debate is far from over. Now, in addition to the A&Es themselves, there's also the question of the future of maternity services at Ormskirk Hospital, because not far from here at Liverpool Women's Hospital, there's an equally big row going on because babies are being born there without an A&E on site. Now, the people who've made the decision to remove the A&E from Ormskirk Hospital won't be drawn on how this might affect other services there, but we do know that there's a national maternity review going on. I think there will be much more discussion on all of this to come.
Jill, thanks very much. Now, Stacy Sharples from Bolton was jailed this week for falsely accusing 10 men of rape. Now, one of her victims has told North West Tonight about how he's been left mentally and physically drained. Others have described how they weren't allowed to see their children, lost their jobs and their relationships broke down. As Phil McCann reports.
Stacy Sharples, the liar who ruined the lives of innocent men. Innocent men who were arrested, taken into custody and in some cases had to undergo intimate examinations.
I was in a state of disbelief. I couldn't believe that what was happening to me was actually happening.
In 2019, Sharples contacted Andrew on a dating app. They met and had consensual sex, but afterwards she bombarded him with messages asking where he was and if he loved her.
I thought she was a nice person at the time when I first met her. You know, like anyone when you meet them for the first time, they're nice, chatty, and you find them to be good people. Otherwise, I don't think you go and meet someone who you don't think's a good person.
Later, he agreed to meet her again to help her sell a TV at this shop in Harper Hay in Manchester.
But when Andrew was carrying her TV here, she was following a short distance behind him. What he didn't know was that she was on the phone to the police telling them that he had raped her. A short time later, Andrew says police fans came screaming down the road here. They ran up to them and arrested him.
I couldn't make any sense of it. Just to be accused of something as bad as what I'd been accused of made me just feel like, you know, like I said, I was beside myself. It was awful.
But the police found the evidence contradicted her allegations against Andrew and the other men. He and some of the others wanted the police to investigate her instead.
I've had this question running around my mind so many times, is how could the police let it get to so many people? You know, I mean, over the time period that it got as well, like, you know, going to court over even just 10 people.
You'd like action to have been taken against her sooner, you mean?
Yeah, a lot sooner, yeah.
In court, one of Sharples' other victims described how her allegations led him to lose his partner, his job, and his parents disowned him. He got abuse on social media. Another wasn't allowed to see his daughter, so he missed key milestones in her life. Another became homeless and turned to drink. Her first allegation dates back to 2013.
It's mentally... Not only has it mentally been draining for me, and it's also physically draining as well, with having to go to court and stuff like that. But for me, long term, it has affected me, and it will affect me for the rest of my life.
But Greater Manchester Police say they want to plead for any genuine victims of rape or abuse not to let Sharples' case put them off seeking justice. Phil McCann, BBC North West Tonight.
Let's get some of the day's other news. And Merseyside police say they've arrested more than 200 people and stopped 17 drug supply lines in a crackdown on so-called county lines operations. That's where criminals exploit children or other vulnerable people to move illegal drugs for them. Merseyside police say no one is above the law.
Certainly, I think the message is out there. The Chief Constable is really clear. If you commit crime, you are in play, end of. And we are going to show absolute contempt for criminality. And I think the public of Merseyside want to see that.
Fire crews have been dealing with a large fire at an industrial estate in Bolton. It started early this morning at the site at Rakesclough Lane and is now under control. No one, thankfully, was injured, but people living nearby are advised to keep doors and windows shut because of the smoke. A care home for people with physical disabilities and dementia in part of Manchester has again been rated as inadequate. Care Quality Commission inspectors said they were deeply concerned that very little improvement had been made since their last visit to Gorton Park's care home. The service remains in special measures. And a piano that belonged to John Lennon has become the most expensive piece of Beatles memorabilia ever sold. The instrument was used to compose songs like A Day in the Life and Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds for the 1967 classic album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. It sold for almost £2.5 million at Christie's auction house in New York. Now it is Mothering Sunday this weekend, so we thought we'd celebrate some of your amazing mums around the Northwest. At lunchtime, we told you about Emily here, an RNLI lifeboat volunteer in New Brighton who balances saving lives at sea with being a mum to her 2-year-old son, Harry. She's also got another little one on the way in a couple of months. Huge congratulations to her. But we asked you to send in photos of your super mums, so let's take a quick look at some of them now. And happy Mother's Day to all mums out there. But becoming a mum is life-changing, but at times it can also be overwhelming, and that's why mum of two, Becky Higgins from Stalybridge in Tameside, has set up Beyond Mama to support women during motherhood to reconnect with themselves. Suzanne Haley reports.
Joyous moments of motherhood. But after a traumatic labour during COVID, Becky Higgins was left feeling lonely and disconnected.
During that first 6 months, felt really isolated. Didn't really get to meet any other mums, didn't really have family around that much, and I just felt this big identity shift.
After the birth of her second baby, things were different, and with a new approach, this time round, things were easier.
I just went on to have an amazing water birth, and it was really calming and it was really empowering.
Now Becky's set up Beyond Mama, a group for mums of all ages and stages who felt lost, overwhelmed or disconnected.
Being able to connect with other mums and talk to other mums, it's made me also appreciate how important that sense of community is. I think bringing women together and holding space, actually, there's just something really powerful in that.
Here's a chance to reflect on the impact of motherhood, as well as identity and well-being.
So I just went into survival mode for a lot of it, and I coped a lot better than I thought I would. But I think it was because I was treating everything like an emergency, and everything was like putting out fires all the time. And so it's not until now, when my youngest is about 9 months old, that everything's calmed down a bit more, and I think I realised how exhausted maybe I was and needed a bit more space to then reflect.
I have a little boy who's nearly 2 next month, and I still at this point feel like I'm completely winging motherhood. I don't really feel like I was prepared fully. Instead of just being so deep into motherhood and being this new person that you've become, is just opening up yourself again and making time for yourself.
I thought, it was about time that I did try and do something more for myself, and I think the well-being support with other mums was a really good idea, and it's something that I'd not seen before, something a little bit different and new, so I just thought I'd give it a try.
Becky's now hoping to secure more funding to meet demand and support more women during motherhood and beyond. Suzanne Haley, BBC North West Tonight, Stalybridge.
That's a lovely idea. Right, let's get some more stories that are being read online in the North West today. And a woman in Manchester says she was shocked to get a £150 fine for feeding a pigeon in Piccadilly Gardens. A council enforcement officer gave her the fine for littering. Plans to build a relief road to one of East Lancashire's biggest ever housing developments have been approved. It will serve the new Huncote Garden Village on the site of the former power station and colliery. And work is due to restart on renovating the Lido at Grange over Sands in Cumbria. After closing in 1993, work to restore it was delayed because of concrete problems. You can read more about those stories and others from the region at bbc.co.uk/local news or on the BBC News app. Now, for the first time in 30 years, young brass musicians from Cumbria are heading to the National Youth Brass Band Championships of Great Britain later this month. It's the annual flagship event for young brass musicians. The Cumbria Youth Brass Band has been getting some expert coaching from students from the Royal Northern College of Music in Manchester. Phil Chapman went to one of their rehearsals.
Fine-tuning their championship performance under the baton of musical director Stuart, who's only recently taken over at Cumbria Youth Brass Band, but he's managed to get them to national level for the first time in 3 decades.
Cumbria Youth Brass Band haven't been for over 30 years. The band only recently reformed about 3 years ago, I think it is now, and I only took over as the musical director just last year. So it's been a bit of a whirlwind for me to get them ready and get them prepared, and all the rehearsals that we're doing just to try and help them get ready for this amazing opportunity that they've got ahead of them.
It's like, obviously it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for us at the minute. And it's just like, yeah, it's great. We've like not done this in 30 years, yeah.
I'm a bit nervous because, well, going on stage is nerve-wracking. But it's great because I get to do it around my friends.
As part of an outreach programme to get more young Cumbrians taking up music, undergraduates from the Royal Northern College of Music have travelled up from Manchester to help coach the brass players.
It's great to come out to different areas and just, expand the outreach of the RNCM. So it's been really good today, especially with the view. It's great.
My favourite thing about being part of it is because I'm with friends and it's exciting.
We provide free brass tuition across the whole length of Cumberland, but we also help with community projects, and this is one of them to benefit the whole of Cumbria as well as the Cumberland area.
And these young brass players from music communities across Cumbria will be firmly on the national stage when they perform at the Youth Brass Band Championships in Birmingham on March the 28th. Phil Chapman, BBC North West Tonight, in Cumbria.
Sound good. Right, good luck to them as well. Let's move on to sport now. And Ian, we're going to be talking about Barrow's managerial merry-go-rounds, aren't we? I mean, it really is a lot of managers going on there. But first, to another important milestone in the Premier League.
Yeah, well, Manchester City go into tomorrow night's game at struggling West Ham, Annabelle, 7 points behind the leaders Arsenal, whose tea-time game against Everton will already be over by that point. So City could be 10 points adrift by kick-off after...
The Premier League always, I believe, is the most difficult one, and still we are there, knowing that if we drop points, we'll be over.
And in terms of West Ham, they'll be desperate for points. Does that make them a little bit more dangerous when they're desperate?
I mean, we're desperate too.
They're desperate. Also in the Premier League, Burnley host Bournemouth tomorrow, while on Sunday it's Manchester United v Aston Villa and Liverpool host Tottenham Hotspur. But how can you listen to such games on local radio? Here, backed once again by some rock music, is the answer.
Here in Lancashire, we're on the road with Blackburn Rovers. They head to the capital in their bid to stay in the Championship. They're away at Millwall.
Tough task for Everton this Saturday. At 5:30, they go to league leaders Arsenal on BBC Radio Merseyside.
A hat-trick of commentaries for you on BBC Radio Manchester this Saturday, including City's trip to West Ham.
So much to listen to. Now, football's a competitive industry, as we know, with clubs increasingly unafraid to sack managers or head coaches if results take a dip. Barrow AFC, for example, are now on their third head coach of 2026 and their fifth in total this season. After this week's latest appointment, I went to gauge the mood at the League Two strugglers' Manchester training base. Tuesday night, another defeat for Barrow.
And Barrow are 2-0 down, and this game looks done and dusted.
As was another head coach. Andy Wing started the season in the role.
We can start, we get some points on the board tomorrow and crack on.
He was sacked in December, with Neil MacDonald becoming interim head coach.
We've got a situation now where we've got to get on with it. We can't feel sorry for ourselves.
In January, Paul Gallagher was appointed head coach.
Very grateful and honoured to be the head coach at Barrow.
He was sacked in February. In came new head coach Dino Marmria.
I've got a track record of doing this type of job. It's tough.
He went this week, replaced by Sam Foley.
You've gone from a player here for 4 years to manager overnight. How does that feel right now?
Yeah, it's been a hectic few days, really. I know the players really well. I've been in the dressing room with them all season. I understand the football club and I understand what we need to do to improve.
Still registered as a player, Foley's now in his fourth season with the Bluebirds.
You've had a long playing career. Have you ever encountered anything like this, where there's been such a high turnover of managers at any of the clubs you've been at?
Not in a short space of time, but I've been at some clubs where you go in, it's the same manager, and when you leave 3 years later, it's still the same manager. So these things are natural, they happen. Obviously, it can be disruptive. I think younger players, it can affect them mentally. So having the older players here just to keep them guided has been really important, and it's given us a chance really to steer ourselves away from relegation.
This was the last point Barrow gained in a 2-2 draw at Cheltenham a week ago.
It's a bit of butter jokes, isn't it? You look at Watford, who go through managerial changes left, right and centre, Nottingham Forest to an extent this season, but yeah, to have it, here at Barrow, it's crazy.
How do you assess the current mood around the town and the football club?
It's a bit of anxiety. It was a massive thing for the town when Barrow retained its EFL status, back in 2020. A huge lift to the town. And now all of a sudden, you're staring into the abyss. recruitment's been bad, just everything right from the start of the season. It's just not, it's been one disaster after another, I think is the best way that I described it.
Barrow host Accrington Stanley tomorrow afternoon. Sam Foley, great guy, really respected, spoke so well there. So if anyone can turn it around, surely he can. Having reached the Women's League Cup final for the first time, Manchester United are now aiming to make history by winning it. They beat Arsenal to book their place in Sunday's showpiece at Bristol City's Ashton Gate ground. Their opponents will be Chelsea. And Super League pauses this weekend for the Challenge Cup fourth round with all our top flight sides in action, along with Oldham of the Championship. Their reward for beating Dewsbury in the previous round is a trip to Catalan Dragons. Can they pull off an upset? Let's hope they can. That, Annabelle, is all the sport for now.
Thank you very much. Yeah, tough times for Barrow, but you think this could be the answer?
They're outside the relegation zones. Let's hope they can do it.
Yeah.
Let's hope.
Ian, thank you very much. Now, a group of people who've experienced homelessness have been in final rehearsal as they get ready to perform an opera at the Lowry tomorrow night. They'll be singing a piece based around Mozart's The Marriage of Figaro, alongside professional musicians from Opera North, and Phil Cunliffe has been to meet them.
Finding their voice. Most of these performers have experienced homelessness, but through the unlikely platform of opera, they're rebuilding confidence.
I used to be in the choir at school, really enjoy singing, you know, making an idiot of myself. So I joined in the session, really enjoyed it. And I've got COPD, you know, lung problems, so it's taught me how to control my breathing as well.
For years, Debbie struggled to put down roots and lost touch with her family.
I used to move house by National Express. I'd just go to the National Express station and say, can I have a ticket on your next bus out of here, please?
Through Streetwise Opera in Manchester, she's been reunited with her brother.
He put my name into Google and came up with this thing that I'd done. It was 30 years since we'd seen each other. It's going to be the first time he's ever seen me do something like this, and I just can't wait to see him again.
In dreams she sang to me.
In his younger days, Mark found himself homeless in Germany. He's now playing the lead role in this reimagining of Mozart's The Marriage of Figaro, and being part of the cast has been a source of joy.
It's made me make a lot of friends, and it also brings up other opportunities. So I've been doing acting in other shows because of people I meet while I'm singing.
Today, the cast were rehearsing with a piano, but tomorrow at the Lowry, when they perform on the main stage, they'll be accompanied by a full orchestra and a dozen professional singers, all from Opera North.
You hear so much these days that opera isn't relevant, live music isn't relevant, ballet isn't relevant. It's massively relevant, and for the people that are taking part in this project, it's been a great showcase for them to show what they've lived through and what they've experienced in life. It's great for the audience to be a part of that and to hear people's stories that might not ever get to tell their stories on stage before.
John suddenly found himself homeless after his life unravelled.
Money debts and everything that mounted up and everything, I ended up homeless. Potentially anybody is 6 steps away from being homeless. I was actually rescued off the streets of Rochdale by a total stranger.
John's been piecing his life back together ever since, and charities like Streetwise in Manchester have given him an outlet to be creative and a renewed sense of self-worth.
Never been on the stage at the Lowry, so we went with Streetwise Opera to see La Boheme a few months ago, and when they said, oh, you're going to be on that stage, makes you so proud.
Phil Cunliffe, BBC North West Tonight.
And I realised watching that I've met Debbie, who we saw in Phil's report before, and she's such an inspiration. Good luck to them all. Break a leg tomorrow night. Right, let's get the weather now with Chris Folks.
Hello. Well, our weather has been quite a bit colder today, hasn't it? But at least we've seen some sunshine. There have also been a number of showers around today, and some of them I've seen with pretty heavy hail as well. Now, the radar picture shows us where the showers have been over recent hours. You can see the northwest just getting absolutely peppered, particularly through Lancashire, Merseyside, Greater Manchester, Cumbria have seen some drier slots, mind you, over the last few hours, but overnight tonight the showers should tend to fade away for most of us, just 1 or 2 running into coastal areas. It's quite a chilly night with temperatures getting down into low single figures, and there could be 1 or 2 patches of frost in rural areas if the breeze manages to drop enough. Now Saturday, we've still got a few more showers to come in off the Irish Sea, but probably bigger gaps between those showers than there were today, and that means you've got a better chance of it staying dry. I think we'll all see a decent start to the morning, though, with plenty of early morning sunshine. Bit of cloud bubbles up as we go on through the morning and into the afternoon, bringing the threat of 1 or 2 showers. But as I say, bigger gaps between those showers, so more of you having a better chance of staying dry all day. Temperatures below average for the time of year, 8 to 10 degrees your high. Second half of the weekend, well, we're looking at the next area of low pressure coming in off the Atlantic, with these weather fronts bringing rain, followed by blustery showers. So there's going to be a lot more cloud around for the second half of the weekend. We'll all see a spell of rain moving its way through, probably clearing into the afternoon with the weather trying to brighten up for a time before we see a whole rash of blustery showers working back in. And those showers could have some hail mixed in, particularly towards our west, particularly near coastal areas. A bit more rain to come through on Monday as well, but then a change in our weather patterns midweek as an area of high pressure tries to build across the UK. And so a little bit of rain left over for Monday, then the weather becomes drier, sunnier and warmer. I think temperatures could hit around 16 degrees Celsius in Greater Manchester midweek. That's your latest.
So Sunday, not the best day for weather, but it is Mothering Sunday. So if you are celebrating, have a lovely time. What are you doing for your mum?
I've not got anything yet, and she's going to be watching now. Joyce.
Tomorrow?
I know, yeah, I've got Saturday, but I just have to confess I've not got it yet.
OK.
So I will come up with something, don't worry. Joyce, Mum, if you're watching.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day, Joyce. And to all other mums out there, as I said, not everybody will be celebrating Mother's Day. I mean, I'm a mother, so hopefully my children will be celebrating Mother's Day. But
no, they've been in touch, they've not got you anything yet.
They haven't got me anything either.
No.
The shops are open tomorrow, kids. Get down there. That's it. Have a lovely weekend, whatever you're doing. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.